Welcome back to Hugh Loving Life. I'm Michelle, and we're going to get into the spiritual laws of life, the updated book by Harold Klemp. And today we're going to be talking about one of the laws of wisdom, and that law is the law of consciousness. All right, so here we go. We each choose our own state of consciousness in every now moment, right? We can shift into a higher state dependent upon our perspective, what we're choosing to think, what we're choosing to look at, what we're choosing to actually allow into our life. We make our own worlds. What we are today is the sum total of everything we have thought or been throughout the ages. And that doesn't just include the ages in this body, it means eternally and all of the different lifetimes that you've had. Maybe you came into this world playing the guitar excellently. I clearly did not have that past life because I have trouble with instruments. I can sing, it's very natural, but some people come in knowing how to do these things. It could be that your past lives, in them, you were a musician. So, all paths to God are provided by Spirit for the express purpose of giving soul in its varying states of consciousness a choice in how it wants to return to God, which is basically returning to love. Each path leads to another path and then to another, right? So let's say you decide, okay, I will meet that friend for dinner in a couple of nights. Yes. And then you're out to dinner, and then there's other people you meet. That's a new path. You see what I mean? Like every time you make a decision, you're opening yourself to new experiences, to new people. It's one thing to be born into a certain state of consciousness, but we owe it to ourselves to make the effort to reach higher and beyond. Upon birth, we are given whatever consciousness we need to get from birth to death. The kind that allows us to go to school, learn a trade or a profession, and make our way, but it takes a special effort to go beyond and reach greater states of consciousness. So you might have that gift being able to play the guitar or to sing. But if you want to expand your consciousness even more into the higher love worlds, then it takes a special effort. We can do this by direct experience with the light and sound of spirit. You guys, honestly, the name of my channel is Hugh, H-U, Loving Life. There's a reason. First of all, I would hope that everyone here is going to get something out of this and that they would love their life a little bit more or do something that would be more loving in their life from just, gleaning something from any of my almost 1,000 videos. Okay. But there's something you can do, which is in my title, and it's to chant the word Hugh. It is the highest vibrational word for love on the planet. So you're basically just singing Hugh, and it raises your consciousness to the love planes, the higher, fifth and higher, okay? Soul is the thinker of thoughts. The consciousness responds when directed by soul, which is beyond all thought, beyond all matter, energy, space, and time. In the creative process of soul, we become the individual reflection of what we realize the divine power to be relative to oneself. If we realize the divine as the infinite potential of all that can constitute a perfect human being, this conception must, by the law of creativity, gradually build up a corresponding image in our thoughts of what we could be, right? Which in turn will act on our external condition. This, by the law of consciousness, is the nature of the process. Okay, that was a lot, but we basically become what we put our attention on. And if we're just putting our attention on our profession in this physical world and we're ignoring these higher states of consciousness that are available, then we might be missing out on growing our consciousness and living more in those love and above worlds. Every time you move into another state of consciousness, which happens every second, really, I mean, really every second, depending upon what you're thinking. Your nutritional laws may change. This is so true. Then you start juggling your diet and vitamins. That's so true, you guys. So I used to enjoy an occasional glass of wine out, on a date or with a friend. I don't touch it now because it just made me feel so yucky afterwards. And I'm talking like I would have it like maybe once every couple of weeks, but I can't. I did an experiment on this at a celebration. I was like, oh, I cannot eat this or drink this. It's toxic. So, yeah, when your consciousness evolves, there are some things that you just naturally will not be able to ingest. And that is so true. So, you start juggling your diet and vitamins. When you finally lose track, you may end up going to a nutritionist. Why? Because you're going through different states of consciousness and your body is responding to the law, which is as above, so below. As you grow in your state of consciousness, or as you come nearer to another initiation, things begin to change. What's initiation? Well, if you become an Eckis, which is a spiritual path, you can still stay in your religion. You grow in the different planes of existence. So you'd be working in the physical, then the astral, then the causal, the mental, etheric, and the love and above. And you wonder what's happening. It's simply that your state of consciousness is changing. Even your word, your secret word, may not work anymore, and you must ask to find a new one. So you also get a secret word that you cannot share with anyone, and that also might change. You might get a new one in the inner worlds that is more appropriate for your current state of consciousness. It is known in the spiritual order that the expansion of consciousness can only take place after one is put into new conditions of learning. Life carries all people and beings onward to the expansion of consciousness. So everything that we do is a lesson. Everything we experience is happening for us because it is helping us to evolve. Consciousness is the Ek, but not God itself. The moment the Chela student has a consciousness of himself as the Ek or the spirit, he has established himself in the word, the voice of God. When you know that that is flowing through you, you are one with that. That is an establishment of consciousness. Okay. This is the realization of soul that occurs on the fifth plane. This leads into God realization, the ultimate goal of all Chelas or students who follow the path of Ek. The simplest key to being conscious is the art of listening. By all means, listen to others, but also listen and watch for the silent voice of the Mahanta, the current living Ek Master, that speaks through others. Okay, so this is like the highest spiritual support you can get. If you're quiet and you can hear it, then you'll know. You can also get it in a waking dream when you're, experiencing something that feels like, oh, this is a message. Okay. Intuition as well. To be conscious is to be humble and compassionate in the presence of life, all life, even the lives of those who might be at a lower state of consciousness and uncomfortable to be around. Doesn't mean you have to hang with them. It just means to be humble and compassionate. In short, love fills your being and the ego is out. And that, my friends, was the law of consciousness. So I hope you're enjoying these spiritual laws of life videos. I have very many of them in the spiritual laws of life playlist. So you can check them out. They're fascinating to me. I love it. I hope you guys do too. And thanks for liking and subscribing, and have or make it a beautiful day. Take care.